Mercedes just did exactly what F1 feared, so we're going to be going through that and other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Mercedes news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. Mercedes have not won a race this year, with Red Bull still on a perfect streak of victories. But Lewis Hamilton and George Russell have reason to hope in Singapore. Mercedes think both Lewis Hamilton and George Russell will be able to challenge Red Bull for podiums at the Singapore Grand Prix. Formula One's famous night race is the next stop on the global tour. And once again, Max Verstappen will be the favorite to win, given he is on an unprecedented streak of 10 in a row. Ferrari tried to end Red Bull's 100% record this season at their home race. But even at Monza, with the Tifosi roaring on the Italian team, Verstappen simply proved to be too quick. It may be that the Mercedes drivers are best placed to challenge the Red Bulls on the Marina Bay Street circuit. Trackside engineering director Andrew Shovlin has reason to hope that will be the case. There is a reason to think that the car will work better, and that is because Singapore is a maximum downforce circuit, he said in a video released by the team. Our performance at the high downforce tracks like at Barcelona, Budapest, and even Zandvoort, the car was working well, and we've had pretty strong performance. We're hoping to be able to be a bit quicker there and get back to a position where we can challenge for podiums. The track, though, does throw up some pretty unique challenges, and we've also got some layout changes for this year. There is a sequence of 4 corners near the end of the lap that have been removed where the track used to go underneath a grandstand through a tunnel. That's now gone, so we've got a longer straight, which will change a little bit how the tires are working. There is a bit less energy there, but it's also an abrasive tarmac. We've got the softest 3 compounds, so it's a pretty tough race on the tires, and it's also a bumpy street circuit. Added to that, the race is run at night. Plenty of challenges for us to try and tackle then, but we are going there optimistic for a strong performance. It will be music to Hamilton and Russell's ears after the Italian Grand Prix, where they finished 5th and 6th with the younger Brit 1 place ahead. It was a positive result in many ways, given that both were slapped with a penalty in the race, and that the 2 cars ahead of them, the Red Bulls and the Ferraris, were simply faster over the course of the weekend. But as team principal Toto Wolff pointed out after the race, this team is not used to being satisfied with those results. The Austrian said, "That was a pretty incident-filled race for us, and we maximized the points that were in there today. But, like always, we need to be careful not to be too happy about finishing 5th and 6th. Mercedes' Andrew Shovlin has revealed the thinking behind an unusual strategy decision taken on Lewis Hamilton's side of the garage at Monza. Hamilton was one of 3 cars to start Sunday's Italian Grand Prix on the hard compound tire, with the 7-time world champion the highest placed of the trio as he lined up in 8th place on the grid. Hamilton proceeded to race his way to 6th place overall, coming in just over 20 seconds behind teammate George Russell, who ran a more conventional strategy by starting on the medium compound from 4th on the grid, running to lap 27 on the hard compound before diving in to take on the mediums for the remaining 23 laps. Hamilton's offset strategy meant he was able to cut his way through the pack in the closing stages of the race. Mercedes trackside engineer director Andrew Shovlin has detailed the thinking behind the unusual strategy decision. "We do a lot of simulations and look at the scenarios where we start on medium and hard," he explained in the team's Italian Grand Prix debrief. "One thing we were seeing with the hard was the potential upsides were actually bigger. Lewis's chance of getting a very good result was increased if we offset strategy and went for that hard tire. The other consideration with Monza, though, is, despite those really long straights, it's actually very hard to overtake. The reason is that when you are running a very small rear wing and you trigger the DRS, there isn't a lot of drag to lose because those small wings are very efficient. The DRS effect at Monza, therefore, is less than half of what it is at most other circuits. That's the principal reason that overtaking is difficult if you don't have a difference in tire age. Lewis's entire strategy on the hard tire was about generating that difference in tire age to the other cars. We were able to run him longer, and he was then on a fresh medium at the end of the race when all the other cars, the McLarens, the Williams, and Alonso, were on their older hard tires. That was enough to generate the overtaking delta that he was able to get through." Another major point in the logic of the strategy call was the possibility of a safety car intervention. While junior categories had plenty of interruptions from the safety car due to various incidents and accidents, F1 ran smoothly aside from a pre-race mechanical issue for Yuki Tsunoda's AlphaTauri. There were points in the race where a safety car would have been very beneficial to Lewis, Chauvelin explained. That would have been if all the medium runners had already come in and he was still out on his hard tire not having stopped. Ultimately, that didn't happen. And at the end of the day, the 6th place that Lewis achieved was the best possible result. With the first start being aborted due to Tsunoda's stoppage during the formation lap, Chauvelin revealed that there was never any desire to change away from that strategy call, even if the rules had permitted. If it is just an aborted start, you must keep the tires fitted to the car, he said. Race control can decide if the weather has changed, or if it's a longer delay that you are allowed to do that. They would have then delayed the start and messaged the teams to let them know that they were able to change tires. Would we have wanted to change? No, we wouldn't, because what we were actually trying to achieve was an offset to most of the field to try and make sure Lewis was on a different strategy. We were quite pleased to see that the vast majority of the cars were all starting on the medium, because that was the key ingredient to his race to work. It feels as if George Russell has been part of Formula One for a long time, but 2023 is still only the 25-year-old Briton's 5th season in the championship. He is a wise head on young shoulders, tackles questions head-on with honesty, and possesses that crucial combination of almost arrogant self-belief, yet self-awareness of how to still improve. This season is just his 2nd racing full-time for Mercedes. He first tested with the team back in 2017, and it has been a year in which his measured rise has slightly plateaued. That has partly been driven by Mercedes erring with the design of its car for a 2nd successive season, while other results have slipped through the net on account of operational mistakes. He's currently 7th in the Formula One drivers' standings and has 1 career win, Interlagos in 2022. We definitely made some wrong decisions over the winter last year that set us back quite a little bit, and that's why we've been playing catch-up so far this season, Russell says. I think every race that goes by, we understand things further and clearer. Mercedes reacted to its humbling start to 2023 by reshuffling personnel, most prominently switching the roles of James Allison and Mike Elliott, with Allison returning as technical director and Elliott becoming chief technical officer. The W14, a poor machine by Mercedes' lofty standards, is still strong enough for Mercedes to be 2nd in the standings. But Mercedes has finished best of the rest to Red Bull only twice from 14 starts this season, Australia and Spain, which is fewer times than Aston Martin and Ferrari. Its advantage has come from being a more consistent operator in that entertaining jostle for 2nd, usually 3rd best, but suffering less performance dips than its 3 rivals, which includes mid-season risers McLaren. Something we've been trying to improve a lot is just the through-corner balance of the car, Russell explains. I think both Lewis, Hamilton, and I are searching for a bit more confidence and rear end in the car so that we can hit the ground running during a race weekend. I think that's something that Red Bull have done a really great job of, allowing their drivers on lap 1 of the weekend to go out, push it to the limit, and in little fear of crashing the car or spinning out. But it's always marginal gains in many areas. If you can find half a tenth here, half a tenth there, suddenly you can add that up to a large chunk of lap time. So, that's just what we're working through at the moment. Russell joined Mercedes full-time in 2022, in advance of new ground effect regulations, meaning his arrival coincided with the slump of the Silver Arrows. Mercedes won 111 races across its 8-season title streak between 2014 and 2021, but has triumphed only once, Russell's stirring maiden victory in Sao Paulo last year, since then. F1 legend Sir Jackie Stewart believes Lewis Hamilton has serious problems at Mercedes, and he'll never win a record-breaking 8-title Drivers' World Championship with the team. Hamilton was within 1 lap of breaking the record back in 2021, but a controversial decision saw Max Verstappen claim the world title. And following the race in the desert and the regulation changes in 2022, Mercedes have struggled to compete with the flying Red Bulls. Hamilton is yet to win a race since the 2021 season. Speaking about Hamilton, Stewart said, "First of all, Lewis is one of the best to ever drive in Formula One. But the truth is that in the last decade he competed with Mercedes for a team that was virtually out of competition. During this time, Lewis only had one real competitor, his respective teammate. Except for 2016, he always emerged victorious from the duel. And then he lost to Nico Rosberg. With respect, a good driver, but not the most talented in the world. But Rosberg was hungry and had the absolute will to become world champion. Lewis no longer has that hunger. Because of that, and because the car is no longer quite as powerful, he has serious problems. Stewart added, "That 8th title also depends on Mercedes. It's not impossible, but I still don't think he'll be able to do it." A former Formula One team owner believes Lewis Hamilton was lucky not to be punished harshly at the Italian Grand Prix. The Brit collided with Oscar Piastri during the Monza race, damaging the front wing of the McLaren. It ruined the Aussie's race, sending him tumbling down the order and out of the points as he was forced to pit for a replacement. The stewards gave Hamilton a 5-second time penalty for causing the collision, but it proved inconsequential as he finished too far ahead of Alex Albon behind him to lose 6th place. Paul Stoddart believes the Mercedes man got off lightly. According to the former Minardi team owner, Hamilton deserved a more harsh punishment from the stewards for his role in the incident.